I'm Mike Duvall. I have been working with dogs for several years. I'm a school teacher, and it allows me to have time in the summertime to work and train dogs. Started off with Labradors many years ago. Loved them, still love a good lab when you see them. And then I found out what it was like when they have a dog that's on point, and changed my views. Went to pointing dogs on a had Labradors. Went to pointing dogs on a change. Really didn't know what was happening. Saw an ad in the paper. Ended up I went to look at an English pointer. Had no idea what it was. Started working with the pro. Didn't know what to do with a pointer, and had two fine hunting dogs. And with those hunting dogs, as they got older, went to a Pheasants Forever banquet, met a young cocky man named Tom Waite, and spent several hours talking about dogs. And anybody that knows Tom knows that he's got some good stories, and shared a lot about hunting, a lot of things there. And then it was a few years as the dogs got older that I said, well, I'm thinking about getting another dog. And really, I started looking, searched the internet, looked in papers, talked to people in Texas, North Carolina, told me they had great dogs, this and that. And then a friend of mine said, you know Tom Waite, and maybe you ought to give him a call. Well, I met him again at the sports show. And at that sports show, I saw a brochure of his, and on that brochure he had a dog that was standing on the prairies on point. And I thought it looked a lot like the dog I had. And if you know Tom, he says, well, that dog's not quite like yours. He's not just a hunting dog. And he talked about Gloucester Super Bullet. They call him Super here at the kennel. And little did I know after talking to that sports show that would be the father of my next two dogs. Unfortunately, I lost two good hunting dogs to old age. They did well, and then I went searching for my next dog and gave Tom a call. He had a litter of puppies, and come over and looked at them and looked at their pedigree. And like I say, after searching the country, it was hard to match the pedigree that they had. They really had good backgrounds, good bloodlines. Watched his dogs work, come out to the grounds, saw what they could do. Waited. That was probably the worst 7 weeks that I ever had. You know, you pick out a puppy and then you have to wait. And like a kid on Christmas morning when he called me and said, I can come pick up a puppy. So we come over and picked out a puppy. And little did I know that that dog was going to be the changer of my world. Took her home, went back to the original trainer that I had with my hunting dogs, and he looked at that dog and said, "There's something special about the dog." And that dog come through, and he says, I don't know. And one of his comments is the first thing we need to do is get that dog reeled in collar condition. And took that dog and was hunting her, having a good time, a real good dog. And I called Tom up. I said, Tom, very happy. Thank you for an excellent dog. Going through, and on a whim he says, Mike, the litter mate to that dog is doing well in field trials. How would you like trying a field trialer? And I said, I don't know nothing about field trialing, but I'll come up and watch one. And he says, I'd bring the dog along. So we signed her up and went out and run up to Peshtigo, up to 2Cs. And Chelsea took third. And that was the dog I got from him. And after that run, the judge leaned over from his horse, looked at me and said, son, you have a special dog there. You're going to have to learn how to handle her. And that's really when the relationship between Tom and I become closer. And that's when I kind of went to field trials. And I don't ever want to ask Tom who was easier to train, Chelsea or myself. But just because I don't want to know the answer. But with that, it made Tom and I closer, looking at the way he trained. She was sent on a trip, did a little trip out to North Dakota. I think that makes a difference on wild birds. Tom worked with her there. I had some problems, helped me straighten out the problems, helped me straighten out problems as a handler. And then from there, I guess what I can say is I'll just read it off that this dog that was supposed to be a hunting dog that came back is now, she was 2007 ABHA Dog of the Year. She was 2007 U.S. Complete runner-up National Dog of the Year for total points. She was a Dairyland Classic winner, and as of this spring, 2-time champion. So it does make a difference when you have somebody working with a handler and the dog. In between there, come back and bought a second dog from Tom. That dog, Jasmine, has done well on the field trial circuit. She's had several wins. I guess her biggest thing was she, as less than a 3-year-old, was qualified for U.S. Complete Nationals and run the Nationals with Tom down in North Carolina. She come through that, well qualified every year. 2 dogs coming from the same kennel that more than capable of making the podium. After talking to Tom, talking about field trials, we had another time when we were in the north that looked at all the shooting dogs, looked at all the placements at the end of the day, and when you can go to a shooting dog stake and have 3 dogs, all with Dale Creek kennel backgrounds on them, it tells you something right there. And I guess the good thing about it is we went back and out of that kennel was the time that Tom and I spent on the road helping me become a better handler. Most of the wins I had come from myself handling. Of course, Tom with his background helping me to succeed as we went along. And that was my Dale Creek background. And to this day, we're running the amateur today. I'm out here judging with amateurs, with Tom, giving back to the sport, learning more, and that's what he's done for me. I've had 2 dogs from him that have been worked from Wisconsin, Illinois, Nebraska, Iowa, North Dakota. They see birds from all over, and I got to give him credit for that. Thanks, Tom.